2016 is going to be a great year for horror movies.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Level. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming 2016 horror movies that we're excited about. Some have trailers, some don't, but we're going to jump right into our list, starting with number 1, The Forest. A woman trying to find her sister in the forest at the base
Identical sister. Which is the key plot point right there.
At the base of Mount Fuji, there's a forest. She finds a guy and a guide. A guy and a guide.
A guy and a guide.
All right.
A guide that's a guide.
Yeah. To take her through the forest, and everyone's warning her, don't go off the path and don't stay overnight. And obviously she does both of those things.
Yeah, or else this movie would be a very boring movie.
Yeah. She followed the rules.
Yeah.
But then like the dead start coming after her, and it gets creepier and creepier, and it looks really cool.
It looks cool. They did a great job with at least they did a great job with the trailer. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a good movie, but people have really high hopes for it.
And the depiction of the dead is pretty interesting. They kind of look like the Scarecrow.
Yeah.
Right? From Batman Begins, like the old...
It's in the same universe.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is part of the DC universe. I don't know if you knew that. No, but this looks like a fantastic horror flick. It looks like it's going to have a bunch of jump scares, but even better, it looks like it's going to have like weird, creepy, hit of the stomach. Yeah.
So on January 22nd, The Boy, which I didn't have a fear of dolls, but watching this trailer makes me kind of think maybe I should start developing a fear of dolls.
This looks really creepy.
So the basic gist is these parents had a kid who killed another kid, and something happened and there was a fire. They didn't make it out of the fire, and now the doll that looks like him is haunted.
There's a nanny who comes in who's supposed to take care of the kid. She thinks it's going to be a child, but it's actually a doll, like a porcelain doll.
Which I would laugh exactly the same way that she did.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's like a set of rules that you're supposed to follow to take care of the doll, and obviously she's like, it's a doll. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to follow these rules. But she probably should have, because the thing is moving and going after her.
Yeah,
and
trying to kill her.
Yeah.
It's like Chucky the early years.
What age is Chucky?
Well, he was a serial killer. Like, he was a fully grown adult, got stuck in a doll's body initially.
Yeah, but he was also in a child's
toy.
So maybe it's like a different body that Chucky was in. Chucky be jumping bodies. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yes.
This is, of course, based on the best-selling novel that's based on the best-selling novel. That's pretty much the case.
Yeah.
So Jane Austen wrote a book called Pride and Prejudice. If you haven't read it, you probably didn't go to school, and that's sad.
I didn't read it in school.
It's an excellent book, but it's basically about social classes and relationship difficulties and things of that sort.
Okay.
But someone decided, let's put some zombies in there. And if you watch the trailer, you see that Matt Smith is in this movie.
Yeah, we figured that out 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, so we're like, wait a minute, that's Matt Smith. So as if you weren't excited enough that you had a Jane Austen novel that has zombies in it and is a best-selling book that people love, it's got Matt Smith in it too. Yeah. So there you go.
Who played a great Terminator.
And maybe
I don't know what else he's in.
It's a
Didn't even get that joke. So moving back into the 1630s, we have The Witch.
Now this trailer gave you very little inclination of what's going on.
It was a good trailer.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't really give anything away, but it made you want to watch it.
A lot of really subtle things happened in it. A lot of, it's going to be creepy, it's going to be scary, but you know very little about it.
Basically, a family of devout Christians go to live outside the village near a basically unpassable forest, and it has nothing to do with the forest that we talked about earlier. And then,
so it's not in the DC universe?
It's not in the DC universe. So their newborn son vanishes, crops fail, all this stuff goes on, the family starts turning on each other, and there's some supernatural evil.
And if you watch the trailer, there's some moments that are so subtle and creepy that it's just like, yes.
It's just like, you don't realize it's unnerving until after it's already happened. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah, because there's those different kinds of horror movies. There's the ones where it's like the pit of the stomach, the creepy thing happens, that little moment when something occurs, and then there's the one where it's just like guys running around with an axe just chopping people up. We have rings.
One ring to rule them all.
Nah, rings. It's plural.
Oh,
so,
many rings to rule them all.
So if you remember, a really long time ago, the Ring came out. It was 2002.
Yeah.
And freaked everybody out because
Yeah.
some weird, creepy girl climbed out of a television.
And
that,
well.
Yeah. And that
And-
was awesome. That was
Yeah.
an awesome movie. And it was creepy
good.
and people loved it. And obviously based on Ringu, the Japanese thriller horror.
Japan does horror.
They just do it so
much
well.
better.
But in this case,
We adapted it.
we
great.
adapted it really well.
Yeah.
So then they came out with the sequel, also very good. It didn't do quite as well, but people liked it as well.
Well,
for
it was
sure.
too soon with that one being released for it to like people will be like, oh, it's new. It's like it's just like the old one.
Yeah,
If I remember the criticism, it's like they didn't do anything new. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
But now they're creating a third, and it's really under wraps of like what
Nothing.
they're not saying anything about it. We don't know what the
Yeah.
plot is. We don't know what's gonna happen.
A few pictures that are really creepy.
I mean, it's later on. It's many years later. So videotapes, you can't really do that. So it's gonna be don't watch the MP3.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you have
Don't pirate, folks.
Don't pirate. You have 7 days to live. The only thing we do know is that it is
I
tentatively
forgot about that.
it is tentatively going to be called the Ring 3D or Ring 3D, which might mean that we're going to
Which
have
might
a
ruin it?
maybe
the name, not the 3D part, but like calling it the Ring 3D.
Yeah. But a 3D horror movie is cool.
Yeah.
And a 3D Ring sequel could be really cool. Because think about it. One of the pinnacle moments is her crawling out of that television.
Yeah.
Imagine if something like that happened in 3D, crawling
Oh
at
yeah,
you. You
It'd
know?
be great. I always forget this director has like the best horror movie director title name. Title name?
What's the
Gore Verbinski.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah.
That is really good.
He knew his calling.
Yeah, what are you gonna do for a living? Banker.
So we couldn't find a trailer for this yet, but we know it's going to be released. It's the Leatherface 2016. Basically, Texas Chainsaw Massacre's Leatherface as a teen
It's an origin story.
for Leatherface.
A lot of times, I'm like, origin story, but it's an origin story for Leatherface. And that's pretty awesome.
That's interesting.
This
at
is
least.
gonna be the most angsty teen you've ever seen in your life. Ever. My Chemical Romance, look out. Leatherface as a teenager, good lord.
It's like Manson met Rob Zombie and fails math.
I'm excited for this. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I consider one of the top 5 horror movies ever made. It's so amazing, and to get an origin story of this, if they don't screw it up and they do it well, it's gonna be awesome.
I'm sorry to say that I need to watch this movie. I haven't gotten around to a lot of horror movies.
Next up, we have Army of Darkness 2.
Yes.
Or will it be called Evil Dead 4?
Or who cares? Bruce Campbell's back.
I don't know. I don't know. Evil Dead, horror movie.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2, horror comedy. Army of Darkness,
Gave up.
comedy, thriller, horror, action, weirdo movie.
Yeah.
But all 3 are great.
And this is ignoring the one that came out last year, or the TV series.
It would have to.
And it continues the story of the old one.
Which is great. It's one of those beautiful combinations where you have crazy story, amazing lead actor who can carry the whole thing
Yeah.
on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, who's his co-star? Let's be honest. He's the star of the thing, you know?
Now-
And then a great director.
Yeah. Now, what I heard was that they tried to make it a horror movie and gave up halfway through and just started having fun with it. And then they tried it again and then just gave up even sooner. And that's why it did the way it did in the movies.
This is what I want.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know either, but
But
this,
you heard that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is what I want. I want him to like somehow lose the chainsaw hand, weed whacker hand. So our question for you is, what horror flick are you most excited about seeing in 2016?
Leave that down in the comments.
Do it.
So Rob Zombie is at it again with the movie 31. We don't know exactly when it's coming out, but you look happy.
I'm very happy.
He makes good horror movies.
Rob Zombie is a horror fan making horror movies, and that's when you get the good stuff. he remade Halloween, and it's hard to say it's not as good, if not better than Halloween.
Which is hard to, which you don't like saying reboots are better than
It's
originals.
amazing. It's so good.
We'll have to travel to the Sundance Film Festival because that's when it's going to premiere, and then it's going to have a release date after that this year at some point.
For sure.
But then you get to see it first and be a little giddy schoolgirl about
There
it.
you go.
Yeah.
Devil's Rejects is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life. He is able to just make sick entertaining. Like, he's just good at it. Like, and he goes into the psychosis of things and the psychology of things. He creates truly crazy characters and gets performances out of people, including his wife,
Oh, yeah.
that are unbelievable.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's always been a performance artist anyway, so it just makes sense that he could transfer over that to screen with a little bit of practice.
And it's also weird his ability to make a sympathetic psycho. You get upset if they're hurt or if they're dying.
Really?
Like the psycho who's killing everyone, like you actually end up feeling emotionally for them and then feeling bad that you are. And that's unbelievable to be able to portray that, to actually care about someone so sick.
Each ticket comes with an hour of psychotherapy.
Exactly. It's a film about 5 carnies who are kidnapped on October 31st, and they're forced to fight for survival for 12 whole hours.
That's what carnies do anyways.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Except they fight for survival for their whole lives. And for just the price of a cup of coffee.
You too
Just
can
for the-
save this.
Right. For the price of a box of popcorn that doesn't have enough butter on it.
For the price of a box of wine they cry themselves into every day.
Next up, we have The Other Side of the Door. This one looks really cool and really creepy. Basically, the gist is there's a husband, a wife, a daughter, and a son. There's a car accident. They end up in the water. She's able to save the daughter, but the son dies. And she's distraught, and she can't live on, and she can't deal. So some woman tells her about a temple that she can go to, where she can talk to her son one last time. He is on the other side of the door, though, and she is told explicitly not to open the door. But of course, it is a horror movie, and so she opens the door.
Of course.
And releases not
hilarity
only...
ensues.
Exactly. But she releases not only her son's spirit, but the spirit of other dead things.
And it looks like there's like some evil thing that's after her, and the one that, like in the trailer, the face-painted tribal guy is just saying, like, you did this, and he's trying to fix it. My guess is that, if I may conjecture, that her death will fix it.
Yeah. I mean, it's very...
That's my guess.
It's very hard to say what's gonna happen in there. Obviously, you have
It's Soldier Boy's song every time the guy's on the screen. It's like, you.
It's either the spirit of a dead kid or the kid who sees the dead thing. And in this one, you have a kid who sees the spirit of a dead kid. Gold.
Surprising lack of horror trailers that just involve like a little kid playing a piano song.
Well, there was
so far.
There was that period of time where
like everything,
where every single horror trailer was a small child's voice singing a nursery rhyme.
That is creepy.
It is creepy, but there was literally
everyone.
There was like a 5-year span where that was every single trailer.
Twinkle, bitsy, bitsy spider.
So last but not least, but maybe the best, Death House.
Good lord.
The Avengers of horror movies.
The Expendables of horror movies.
The Expendables of
the
horror movies.
League of Extraordinary Horror Characters.
Horrors, I don't know. Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Jason, and Pinhead, who are in some kind of apparent supernatural prison, because that's the only explanation for why they're in prison, and there's some prison break, but they're all in the same movie. And yes?
Not only that, and it's actually it's the people who played them, so, you know, Robert Englund
is actually
in it.
Gunnar Hansen, Kane Hodder, and Doug Bradley.
But then you also have people from a person from House of a Thousand Corpses, someone from Cujo, someone from Dawn of the Dead, someone from The Hills Have Eyes. I mean,
Speaking of Cujo, they're remaking that this year too.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
But this is just a star-studded horror flick to end all. I don't even know what's gonna happen.
I'm not the biggest horror fan in the world, but I'm actually excited to see this.
To have Pinhead and Freddy Krueger in the same movie is the weirdest, most awesome thing I can think of.
It's gonna be fantastic.
There's only one thing that would make that movie better.
What?
Chuck Norris.
Please. please. If you're not done, if you haven't wrapped yet, Chuck Norris is the guard that keeps everybody in the prison.
No,
that's the only. That's how they're in prison. Chuck Norris
is holding them in there.
Yeah,
because only Chuck Norris could. With one roundhouse kick, he captured Pinhead. What would be awesome is if they announced that Chucky is going to be in it, but they actually meant Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
How can you not be excited about this?
I think we've whet their appetite.
So see it when it comes out. I mean, just do it.
Yeah. Let's all go together.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on! So if you want to see some more videos of us talking about movies, playing games, doing skits, all kinds of stuff, make sure you click right there. And also if you want to see a segment we do where we make fun of critics of movies, click right there so you can see it. As always, thank you so much for liking, commenting, and sharing this with your friends.
Yes, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button right down here to stay up to date with us. We'd love to hang out with you a little bit more. And until we see you guys next time, geek out and game on. Just with a lot of reverb.
Right.
Like they just stuck them in the middle of a church by themselves and they're just singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider.
Because it's always them singing that, but then it gets cut off like ah!
Yeah,
or whatever.
I think I went more Prometheus with that one.
I think
right
so
there.
too.
Which is a good movie too.